Hey guys, Kia for ButtonSmashers.com, and this is our review for Senran Kagura Pinball. It seems like just yesterday I reviewed Senran Kagura Reflections for the Nintendo Switch, the weakest entry in the franchise to date. It lacked depth in both gameplay and story departments, resulting in what was little more than a tech demo parading as a spin-off. Senran Kagura Pinball is not that. It's an actual competent spin-off that stands on its own merit due to its genuinely good gameplay and plot. Senran Kagura Pinball is a pinball game set in the Senran Kagura Universe. The game features 6 girls from the mainline series split among the factions. The plot of the game is fairly simple yet pertinent to the overall Senran Kagura ethos. It begins with Haruka of the Crimson Squad working at an arcade because, you know, they're renegades and as such, they have regular jobs.
それでは決勝戦を始めます。レディーファイト。どうしたの?
The arcade weeks that also happen to be holding a tournament, which Asuka, Yumi, Yomi, Murasaki, and Ryona enter for varying reasons. Ryona doesn't last long in the competition, and before long finds herself needing to use the loo. In the restroom, she notices there's no hand soap and thus uses some from the cupboard below the sink. But as it turns out, that liquid under the sink isn't hand soap. It happens to be one of Haruka's formulas that turns the user into an anthropomorphic animal version of themselves. This formula also has a plague-like effect in that it infects anyone who touches someone inflicted by it. Since this is a plot device for the game, the entire group subsequently ends up turning into animal girls, excluding Haruka of course. She then enlists you, the player, to save the girls before they become stuck as animals. To do this, you're required to use a special ball with the capability to reverse the effects of the formula by rubbing and hitting it against the girls' bodies. As such, the obvious tactic to do this is to of course trick them to go onto a pinball table and play pinball. That's the plot. Each girl has her own plotline which sees her as the lead alongside the player character attempting to save her friends. You can decide for yourself which of the girls' story is the true plotline, but for me, it has to be Yumi's plotline. The story segments play out in a visual novel style with full Japanese voice acting and English subs. There are also extra story dialogue during the pinball playing, but it's almost impossible to read those while playing the game at the same time. If you'd like to receive all that the Button Smashers has to offer on YouTube, then make sure to subscribe to all of our channels on here. You'll find that we cover a lot of content including Japanese and Western games as well as anime, manga, and technology. You'll find links for each of the channels in the description, so make sure to subscribe to all of them so that you don't miss anything. Speaking of gameplay, it's pretty good actually. It's standard pinball with a bit of Senran Kagura flavor. You play the game just like you'd play any other pinball game by trying to keep the ball from passing the flippers while attempting to rack up a high score by hitting different objects on the table to activate multipliers and gain points. The main difference between this and a traditional pinball game is that this game has objectives to complete which culminate into a minigame of sort that allows the player to destroy the clothing of the girls. These missions can range from hitting the girls a certain amount of time with the ball to triggering then defeating little creatures on the table. There are also some that cause the girls to fall over for a period of time to prolong the session and gain a higher score. The game also has multipliers and the possibility to activate special abilities. All in all, when you put it all together, it is a really fun experience. I've also always fancied pinball games and can clearly remember my first experience with one. It was back in the early 2000s when we had just gotten our first PC with Windows XP on it. Since the PC wasn't a powerhouse and my parents weren't too keen on getting us games, we had to work with what we had. That meant Mavis Beacon and 3D Space Pinball were my two most played games on the system. I remember the songs, the high scores, and of course the sobs of my sister as I crushed her high score. Okay, I may have exaggerated a bit of that last part. She didn't sob, but I did destroy her high score even though to this day she will deny it. Oh, but that's the good thing about pinball games. They have a way of bringing out the competitive side in people. Back then, high scores meant something. It meant something to go over to a mate's house, set a high score, put your name on the top of the leaderboard, and then leave them to suffer the shame of seeing your name taunt them every time they played. As a kid, I made it my duty to do this to every one of my friends, and 3D pinball was my weapon of choice. Unfortunately, despite the appeal of Pinball's gameplay, it lacks that capability. For one, it doesn't take into consideration the switch from local to online leaderboards, and no one is likely going to get their mates to come over and set a high score on a game like this. The game also lacks variety in that it only features 2 pinball machines. In this day and age, that is unacceptable, and without the ability to compete for high scores, they get old really quickly, especially the second machine, which doesn't have enough interactive objects as the first one. But wanna know something interesting? You'll have a damn fine time with this game alone for about 20 hours or so before it gets old. Each of the tables have different background images to unlock for them, and like all other Senran Kagura games, the girls have different outfits to unlock and choose from. The game also has unlockable balls which come in 2 varieties, which change the intensity of the vibration of the Joy-Cons. It should also go without saying that this is among the smallest rosters and outfit lists in the franchise, but it's forgivable given that this is a pinball spin-off. The game has multiple modes including story, free, shop, gallery, and of course the fully robust dressing room mode from the main series, including fully customizable costume sets all the way to pantsuit. Oh, and that's not all. It also features the intimacy mode because Nintendo doesn't think we're all kids who need censorship anymore, unlike other console manufacturers, and so we get everything that the developers intended, as well as the dioramas. Pinball also has DLC, but I couldn't verify what they would be at the time of writing. But based on the Japanese release, they're likely to be outfits that were present in the previous games being sold at a ridiculous premium. So with all I've had to say so far about this game, here's my final verdict. Senran Kagura Pinball isn't robust, nor is it a system seller of any kind. You likely played for the story, then set a high score 2 in the single player free mode, and never pick it up again. It's one of those experiences that feel great while you're engaging with them, when in hindsight, they're nothing more than distractions. The best I can say is that it's quite fun while it lasts, and I can see the appeal for fans of this series along with P-Life appreciators, but no one else need apply. Thank you very much for watching our review of Senran Kagura Pinball. If you enjoyed this review, make sure to leave us a like and a comment in the comment section below, and if you'd like to see more content like this from us, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you'll always know when we put up new content.